Welcome everyone to the stream, and I hope everyone is having an amazing day. And today in this live, we're going to work on some of the basic systems like battery system for our flashlight, and then some pose menu and main menu systems, so that we can change few settings, few accessibility settings, and probably not probably something like the mouse sensitivity. Okay, so we're going to build all of those systems here, and also the interaction system is still a bit left, so we're going to complete that one as well. So without further ado, let's hop on to the video, or to the live. Again, welcome to the live. I hope we will have amazing time today as well. Okay, let's go. Okay, so let's first start by setting up a few of the things that we need to do. So first of all, I couldn't be live yesterday, and I didn't do any of the interacting system, so we have to do that today. Also, we have to, I will start building AI, but that will be the end of the live. And I have built some of the puzzle framework, but it's still on paper. I still haven't fully decided how I want it to be played out. Okay, so first of all, the interaction system. There is one more thing that I have to add, which will be the battery system. Okay, so the battery system, we can put this over here, and we are going to complete this system today. So you can also color code this by going inside here, colors, light blue. Okay, so for today, we're going to work on the interaction system, a bit of main menu and pose menu, and the battery system. Also maybe the save game, because it is kind of the part of the interaction system. Okay, so let's hop on to the game engine. So yesterday we left off at building these gates. Let me just put this one over here. Okay, let's increase this. Nice. We don't need to worry about that, but now if we have to get inside, we have to lock the door, unlock the door. Door unlocked, we can get in, close the door behind us, and boom, we are inside the room. Nice. Okay, so for today we have to fix or build the battery system, but I will try to keep it as vague of a system, or as it shouldn't be a challenge to the player to gather the batteries and work with them. So I will try to make it a subtle system rather than a punishment system. Okay, so let's go to our player character and let's start building that. Let me also change it up a bit. Also, one more thing. I haven't attached the gamepad yet. I will do it in the next one. Okay, so we have to do the battery on the event tick. So, and we're going to do that by using the seconds. Okay, so there are two ways to decrease any kind of product over a time of period, a period of time, right? And one another whiteboard. Let me make it healthy for the eyes. Yeah, dotted. Nice. Okay, so there are basically two ways to build the decrement or increment of any kind of variable inside any kind of engine anywhere else on the planet by using two things. First, yeah. So the first thing that what is actually happening? Oh, my tab is not. It's also capturing everything else. Yeah, this one. Nice. Okay, close. All right. So what we need to focus on right here is these two things. First, a tick event. Maybe the dotted is not a good one. Format background to squares. Okay. So there is tick and then there is actual time. Okay. In games, every frame, okay, so if your game is running at 60 frames per second, that means that every second there will be 60 ticks. Okay, and if you look at your engine, this event tick will work all of those times. Okay, so if your game is running at 60 frames per second, this tick will run 60 times every second. So there is this way. Then there is another way from which we can get time from a system, anyone's computer, and then from that time we can get hours, minutes, uh, is it this spelling good? I don't know. Minutes, seconds, milliseconds, and so on. Okay, I don't think there is much more, but we can get these four things and we can decrease anything according to these relations. So let's say that we have a event that run on either tick or time. Okay, or let's say that this event either run on every single tick or every single second. Okay, so what's going to happen, and okay, this event also contain a variable called, let's say, battery. We are making battery. So let's say that it contains battery percentage. Okay, and we are telling in this event to decrease 5 amount of battery. Let's say that the battery percentage right now is 5000, and we are saying to decrease 5 in every single second. So what will happen in tick is that it's going to decrease 5 into 60, which will be 300 amount of battery every second. Okay, so this will be the amount of battery which will be reduced every single second if your game is fixed at 60 frames per second. Okay, but whereas in time it's only going to decrease 5. Okay, over here it's only going to decrease 5 per second. Now it can take a lot of time for us to reach 0 from 5000 to 50 seconds, but we can increase this amount to basically make the battery reduction more natural and gameplay like. But in this case, this is completely out of our control. Let's say that there is a slower PC that our game is running on, and it's only running at 33 or 30 frames per second. Okay, in this case, still going to multiply with 5, but the result is 15, uh not 15, 150% or amount per second. Okay, so with this sequence, now the battery is decreasing less with a slower PC or with a slower frame rate. And if this frame rate goes up to 120, then now it is decreasing 600 amount per second. Okay, so this is really big thing. And around, even in my own PC, it's it only is it's oh my god, I cannot speak. So even in my PC, while working inside the editor, my frame rates are always above 100. Okay, so frames are always above this. So for me to actually decide which would be the best option for other players, that would be kind of cheating on my own part, right? Like I can set a pretty good value which feels great to have, but once a slower system or even slower system runs it, now the battery percentage has increased and games become much more easier, or maybe it doesn't become easier, but the battery system is now pointless. We don't require any battery now. So to fix that, I'm actually going to reduce the time, reduce this via time. But there are a few things that we can reduce by tick, which doesn't really contribute to the gameplay, and it just exists for maybe a random value or for maybe just decreasing something over a time, and we don't require every single frame or every single second of it. It's just like some initial points we need. Okay, so to do this via time, we have to get the time. Okay, so let's do that. So we're going to go over here, right click, and create an event. Not an event, we're going to call for now. And this node right here contains the second that you have inside your system. Okay, seconds are whatever you need. And from here, we're going to drag and call for break. Okay, so this now contains year, month, day, hour, minute, second, and millisecond. We're going to decrease the battery upon seconds, so we're going to choose that. And to make it clean, we have another node. I cannot delete it. Uh, Unreal Engine problems. Anyways, to make it much cleaner, we're going to delete that, and from here we're going to get second. Okay, and now we're going to check equal to a initial second. Okay, we need this second to exist so that we know what is actually happening, like when exactly we have passed 1 second. Okay, so we're going to check, is this second equal to this initial second? Okay, and if that is true, okay, so if that is true, if the now if the current set second, let's say it's 15, is similar to initial second, which is also 15, then we want to do something. Okay, we want to, yeah, we want to do something. Now, wait a minute. If the get second and initial second is equal to themselves, then we want to perform some action, and if they are not equal to themselves, then we don't want to perform any actions. Got it, got it. Okay, so there we go. Let me just close this. Okay, so first thing that we're going to do in this is so get second, get initial second. Oh, I don't know, this feels kind of wrong for some reason. So we're getting the initial second. Oh yeah. So we need to set this initial second at the begin play. Okay, we need to set this initial second to whatever second we have. Oh my god, why? Okay, so what this is doing is, as soon as we start the game, this will set the initial second to be the base second. Okay, and once that because the first for the first tick, this is going to be true, right? It's going to be true that this second has been the initial second. So we're not going to do anything on the true. Okay, we're not going to do anything, but we're going to do this on the false. Okay, and why we are doing that is because the first thing that we will do inside the false is to set this initial second to be this second. Okay, so just look at what is actually happening. We are using event tick to check every second, and we will run this frame using tick, but every second. um, let me show you on the whiteboard. Okay, so let's say that we are working with 5 ticks per second. Okay, on the first second, because on the first begin play we set it that the second round is equal to the initial second that we set it. Okay, if this is equal to, don't want to do anything, so this doesn't work. But on the next, okay, so basically they don't work. After 1 second though, this initial second will be different, because now the now the now second. Okay, so the current second, the actual second, has been passed one more, so it's like +1 than the initial second, which are now not equal to themselves. Okay, so what will happen, forget about this, we have another 5 ticks in front of us for the next 5 seconds, for the next 1 second, and now what will happen, they are not equal to each other, so this tick will run the event, and this will say whatever we have in the event, and that event basically contains the battery -5 or something. Okay, so it will run the event, and that event also contain a value where we set the initial second to be the same second. Okay, so we set this again, we make the initial second to be the second that we have right now. And once we do that and the next tick follows, now this tick goes through a condition which checks again, is the initial second same with the actual second? And if it is, then basically it will say I cannot run this. And similarly with other 4 ticks, until and unless the cycle renew itself and the second has been changed now. Okay, so now it's +2 while the initial second is just only +1. Okay, so now it's going to check again, is the initial second same with the second, and now it will say no, it's not, so run the event, and now the event will set it back to same. So that's what we are doing. We're just basically closing all of these ticks in the way. Okay, and we are just using 1 tick per second. Okay, and now whatever the event we want to run every single second will be performed over here. So we're going to create a reroute node or probably a sequence, and this is going to be per second events. Okay, now you can add as many events that are going to happen every single second right over here. For the first one though, we want to decrease the battery percentage, and we don't really have the values for the battery right now, so let's create them. The first variable is going to be the current battery, and the second variable is going to be the max battery, and the last variable is going to be battery amount. Okay, I knew something is going to be called. Okay, and these two things are actually going to be float instead of integer. Nice. And now what we can do is change these values. So in then 0, we're going to get our current battery, and we're going to decrease negative, let's say 5 for now, from the current battery. Okay, and then we're going to check. Okay, also this is only going to happen, there's going to be a branch which will check, is the current battery, okay, is this current battery equal to 0 or less than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 0. Okay, so when the current battery is less than or equal to 0, we want to do something else. If it is not, then we want to decrease it. Okay, so once this is less than 0, we want to check another thing. We want to check the battery amount, basically the battery as in an object inside our inventory. How many batteries do we have? Okay, and if we don't have any battery, which means the battery amount is 0, then the, the torch will turn off. Okay, so let's add that checking. So if the battery amount is less than or if the battery amount is 0, let's make it bug free by making it less than or equal to 0. So if the battery amount is less than or equal to 0, then we will turn off the battery. If it is not, then we want to make the current battery equal to the max battery and make the battery amount add and make this the amount. Okay, also one more thing, I think we should do this over here. Okay, let's move this over here. Nice. Okay, we're going to run this on then one. What I'm trying to do actually is that if the current battery is less than 0, right, then we want to just do this. Okay, we want to just uh, turn off the light. Okay, so let's grab the spotlight and we want to set intensity to 0. Okay, and if the battery amount is something, then we want to set it back to the 50,000. Yeah, so then we want to set it to 50,000. If not, then we don't want to do anything, so the battery is always turned off basically. Okay, and the reason why I did this is because we can add a bit of delay here, and that delay may cause some kind of effects like uh, the torch turning off then on the battery change, or we can add some kind of animation here where we change the battery. Okay, maybe some kind of sound and stuff. So for that purpose we can do them over here. I'm just going to comment this for adding battery change animations and sounds. Okay, now let's check if this is even working. Also, before that we need to set some default values here. The current battery is going to be 500 actually, and the max battery is also going to be 500, and the battery amount is going to be 1. Okay, and now let's print that as well. Sequence print string battery amount. Oh yeah, we can make this append a double p and a, and make not you, remove pen, and also you. Okay, so the first one will have the battery amount. Okay, so how many batteries do we have, and the other one will have the current amount on how much percentage do we have. Okay, and right now as you can see, what is actually happening? We're increasing the battery amount. What the hell? Why? What is happening? So over here we are setting it to that, so it does become equal to initial second, so it doesn't run every single second, that we do know, but the spotlight is different if this is less than or equal to 0, so which it is, so it should not change anything. And also this is going to be 50,000, and the current battery is not equal to 0. It's just my saying it. Maximum battery amount. So what is actually happening? Why is it increasing? uh, oh, no, it shouldn't be a increase here, it should be decrement. Yeah. Okay, so if this is less than or equal to 0, and it's also going to be in the true, not the false, inside the true. Okay, and it was not less than whatever we are talking about here. Oh, I know what is happening. It should be like this. Yeah, now it should run. Nice. Let's wait for it to happen. Also, one more thing, even if we turn off the light, it is still decreasing, which is not great, but we can fix it. It's really easy. We just need to add one more condition for it to work. So I just want to check that it can change the amount of visibility. Boom, 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 boom. Let's do parkour till then. Doosh, 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 doosh. Bang. Oh, I missed it. Oh my god. Okay, let's go. Boom. Fish. Okay. Okay, that was my problem. That was not my problem. No, that was not my mistake. Okay, it did turn it off. So why is it not decreasing or anything? What happened? Okay, so this is now equal to 0. Should we go with, because we are decreasing it with 5, should we go with like something like 2? So if this is less than or equal to 2, then it should go over here. No, it did set it to 0, so it is working. The only thing is that this is not working because this needs to be in true. It's not less than or equal to 0. Okay, let's do that. How about I just make this current battery to be 15, and let's also make the branch for doing the flashlight action. Need to make it over here. Make branch. I'm going to comment this flashlight battery system. Okay, and this is going to happen if the flash is on or if not. Okay, and the other thing that we want to do is we're not actually going to set the intensity or anything here. We're just going to set if the flash is on or if the flash is off. So let's do that. And it's going to play sound. That is still true. And what we are going to do is over here, like instead of setting the intensity inside the battery mount, we're going to do once, and we're going to do this over here. I'm going to reset this every single time to make a battery mount. Okay. So the reason I did this is so that every single time for the first time, like we start the flash, we will set the intensity and do something that way. And also when we turn off the flash, it's also going to reset it. Yeah. So it's going to reset if the battery is changed, and it's going to reset if the flashlight has turned off. Okay, let's try that on. Also, one more thing, this flash is going to be off and the intensity is going to be 0 because I don't want my flashlight to be on when I'm flying. Okay, so now the battery is not increasing, and now we can turn on the light. Now it is increasing and decreasing, I mean, and voila. But there was a delay, right? There's a bit of delay in turning it on. Why is there a delay? Is that because of the second? Because it's not in that particular second. Now that can be something. Because if let's just assume that we don't do this and we do the intensity stuff over here. What I want to show you guys, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I just thought that is going to happen, is that once the flashlight has run out the battery, okay, so there is no battery left inside the flashlight, it's still going to turn on because we are turning the intensity up over here in the F, right? We are turning it whenever we are turning it on, we are setting some kind of intensity here. So it's actually going to break the system once we start doing this. I hope I'm wrong, but let's just check that out. Also, the max battery is going to be just 50. Okay, now let's set the intensity. Set intensity to be 5,000, 50,000. Okay. So it does turn off pretty intense instantly. Okay. But once the battery has run out and we don't have any other extra battery, it will turn off. But if we turn off and then on the flashlight, it turns on for a second and then it turns off. Okay, but we don't want this, right? We don't, like, of course it's going to set it back to 0, but there's still a bit of delay. We don't want that delay. How do we fix that? I mean, I do want it to turn on instantly. Maybe over here, when this turns true, right? We have another event. So let's make this run out of battery. Okay, so once we run out of batteries, this event will turn on. So let's turn this on, and over here we're going to turn it off. Okay, and we're going to check every time we do this. We're going to check. Also, we don't need this. Okay, select float, and this float will run if we run out of the batteries. So if we run out the batteries, which means um, if we run out of the batteries, or wait a minute. So either we run out of the batteries or the flashlight is on. We want to turn it on. Okay, that is. Um, let's not do it on one. Get the spotlight, set intensity. First one, second one. If the flashlight is on, we want it to be 50,000. So that is going to happen. That is going to get checked over here. And then we're going to select this one float, this particular float, depending on if the battery has run out. So if the batteries has run out, we want 0, and if they haven't run out, we want it to be 50,000. And then we're going to play sound. Okay, I think this is going to work flawlessly. Let's also delete this and this and this. Let's run. So this time, if the battery runs out, the flashlight turns off, and we will not be able to turn it on. Nice. Okay, and now we need a interactable battery object from which we can get the batteries, basically, just like this one over here. Okay, so let's go inside project files, world actor, and let's make another actor. This is going to be master pickable, or the key is master pickable. There is no master pickable. Let's just make yeah, let's just make every asset its own master. So we want batteries, so let's make batteries. Okay, this battery going to contain a cube as a static mesh. It's going to be 0.25 and a bit above. Probably, wait a minute. And this cube will sit directly upon this grid. Okay, and now we want to have how much battery amount does this actual actor have. Okay, this particular actor, what kind of battery? Yeah, I think the master actor will be much better option. Yeah, let's make this a master pickable. Master pickable. Okay, and this master pickable We can go inside construction script, get the cube, and we can set static mesh depending on the whichever kind of element we are working with. In this case, a battery, but right now I don't have a battery. So let's just select cube again and maybe a cone. Yeah. And right click and promote to a variable and make this instant editable. The next thing that we want to do is change the how many amount of battery or anything that it have. Okay, amount of object. It's going to be an integer. Yeah, and it's also going to be instance editable. Mesh of object. And after that, we don't want to do anything inside the master pickable. We're going to right click and make a child blueprint class, and it's going to be battery. I'm sorry. Okay, and this battery will have exactly one amount of battery in it, and every single time when we oh yeah, one more thing that we need to add here inside the master pickable. This is a interactable, just like the door. Okay, and this interactable is going to be at the top of this. Nice. And what we want to do is change this interactable display text and everything over here. Okay, so this is going to be battery. There will be no tooltip text, or distance will be 100, visibility, simple key, press, and this is going to be simple interaction widget. Okay, and on interact we want to get the pickup something. I did make the pickup item. Okay, and this item name right here is going to be battery. Okay, and the value is going to be the get amount of object. That's it. And we're going to go over here and destroy actor. Compile, save. This is going to be get player pawn. Boom. It should work now. Also, we need to make this inside here. So inside interfaces, pick up item. Then we need to add another pin, which will be battery. Okay. And that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Just a minute. Okay, so now we need to add a amount of battery, whichever value here is, to however battery we have inside our inventory. So get the battery amount, and we want to add the value. So duplicate this, add this value to the battery amount, and this is going to be the success. Okay, nice. Now compile, save everything, and now if we go, we are not turning on the electricity, the flashlight, and also we need to put this battery in the world so that we can pick it up. Okay, so this is a battery, and once we click E, as you can see, the amount of battery has become 2, now 3, and now 4. Nice. And now if we do try to decrease the battery, now it's going to decrease the amount of battery we have. Okay. Okay. So we have created the battery system. I'm still not sure about what I want to do with the inventory yet. Do I want a complete inventory, or should I just make a basic system inventory which contains just where did it go? Which just contains the values instead of like um how to let me just do this and I will show you what I mean. Okay, something like this, and we can grab all of them, move them over here, make the y value to whatever this one is. So let's just make it 0, and let's move it over here. um, uh, um let's make them apart. Okay. Okay, so what I actually mean is, so there are two types of memory inventory that I'm thinking of building that can be a choice of a build. So first one is just system inventory, okay, and then the other one is actual visual memory. Have I visual inventory, not memory? What I'm saying, inventory. Okay, so the difference between them is inside the system inventory, there can be amount of battery, as many amount of battery there can be. There can be if you have any kind of door keys, all those of the things, but inside a data list. Okay, they will be inside a data list and can be shown inside the, let's say, a file menu or a uh, store menu or something like that, instead of a complete visual memory inventory which contains like boxes, right? So it's like a set of boxes over here, and on what we have to do here is any kind of key or any kind of battery we actually have to show them over here. Okay, so 5 amount of battery, 6 amount of keys, or stuff like that. Okay, so there are these two types of systems. This can be shown inside a player menu some sort, and this have a completely different inventory menu of its own. Okay, so there are these two ways, and I'm still thinking about which one to choose. So I'm going to work on the inventory menu itself after, like, at the end of the prototyping. Okay, so let's test everything out. We're going to get one battery, and also we're going to get one battery after the flashlight has turned off, so that we can see what actually happens. Okay, so now the flashlight has turned off, and as soon as we pick up one battery, it goes back to this place or this structure. Okay, nice. And now if we turn on off the battery, I don't know if the battery is turned on off or off. Okay. Nice. I mean, it is kind of doable. By the way, what I was thinking is if we were to quickly just turn and off, and what exactly I was let me just show you. So over here inside the event, okay, so what is going to happen is that we are running this event when the flash is on, and also when the second is kind of not equal to the initial second. So again, back to the time frame. Okay, so we are only running this event in this frame right here, but what about all of these frames? What if a player turn on the flashlight on take 2, which will not run the event, and he or she turns off the flashlight at the end of the frame, okay, which again is not going to turn on the event or perform the event because the flashlight is off initially. So if someone is fast enough to turn on and off the light in these frames and be able to cheat this decretion, then yeah, basically they can they can cheat through the game. But I would say if you are capable of doing this, uh, hats off to you, and I allow you to do this. Okay, I allow you to perform your best in this sense. Okay, now let's just make it neat and clean. I'm going to make all of this including inside a function. So right click, collapse to function, collapse to function. Why is it not collapsing to function? I don't know. Why are you not collapsing? Oh, we cannot delete anything. Yeah. Unreal. It's completely unreal. You never know what is going to happen. Anyways, we're going to select all of these things and all of these things. Right click again and collapse to function. And we're going to call this function to be per second event. Per second event. And then we're going to collapse all of these to another function. Okay, and we're going to call this battery reduction. Nice. Now it's much more neater and cleaner and understandable. Okay, hydration break. Okay, so now the battery has been reduced, and okay, all right, so the battery is done, so we can go to the clip cup and set it to be complete. Now the interaction system is also kind of done because we know the master pickable. We have built the master pickable and we can basically change anything that we want in it. So I think the interaction system is also done. We, if we ever need, we can change it. And I mean, to be honest, it's not going to be done at all if if we talk about the whole game, because the whole game is about interaction. So for now, the basic system is done. Okay, so now we're going to work on a bit of save game, but before we work on save game, I think we should be working on the main menu and pause menu. Also, the inventory menu is coming up pretty soon. Yeah, I will take it on, right? Take on the challenge, but right now, yeah, let's not work on that. Let's compile and save everything. And first of all, I'm going to work on the pause menu, and after that I will build the main menu. Okay, so again, project files, new folder, widgets. And also, if you see over here, we have another folder for the widgets. But the reason why I am not using this, and I'm still going with another folder, is because it's going to be really messy soon enough. Okay, as soon as I start adding more and more assets, it's going to fill up and be really messy really soon. So that's why I want to keep every kind of folders and stuff inside just one project. Okay, so let's go inside the widget and let's make a user interface widget blueprint. And this widget blueprint is going to be called pose menu. Pose menu. Okay, so should I go with WP for widget blueprint? Okay, so now this is going to have a canvas panel, which we're going to increase to 90, 19, 20, and 80. Okay, after that, we're going to have another canvas panel whose anchors are going to be the whole screen, and then the offset to left is going to be 50, then another 50, then another 50, and then another 50. I made this so that I know a bit of a margin between the frames. Might be overkill to use two canvas panels, but it gives me much better idea about everything. The other thing that we want is blur, background blur. I'm going to add it before the canvas panel, and its anchor is going to be complete as well, and offsets are going to be 0, 0. And now we can increase the blur strength to 20. Nice. Now let's add a button, button, and a text to it. Also a vertical box, vertical box. The vertical box anchor will be over here. The position is going to be 0, 0, and alignment is going to be 0 0.5, 0 0.5. Not this. This is going to be 0, and this is going to be 1. Negative 1. Why? Negative 0 0.5, I guess. 0. Yeah, nice, nice. And now we can increase it and put the button inside the vertical box. Fill. We're going to add 2 more buttons, which we can duplicate over here. And all of these buttons will have a bit of padding. First of all, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here. 10 actually. Okay. So that would be our basic place of our menu. And we can add as many we want in future. And we can edit them as well, however we like. I think this is enough for a pose menu. And now let's change the buttons. The first button is resume or back. No, resume is better. Resume. The other button is going to be options. And the last button is going to be the menu. The quit. It's actually going to be quit. And we will have another button actually. Duplicate this, and we're going to move it onto the canvas panel. Anchors are going to be this, and the position is going to be 0. Yeah, it's not annihilating. Probably get one here as well, something like this. And the last one is going to be, this is going to be quit to menu, main menu, and this is going to be to quit. Okay, now let's check the text box. This is going to be resume. This is going to be options. This is going to be exit, main menu. And this is going to be quit. Okay. And I think there should be a queue somewhere for the pose menu, right? So we're going to add a text over here. Let's go to the text, add text to the canvas. And we're going to go over here. The anchor is going to be this one. Position going to be 0. And alignment is going to be 1. Not 1, 0 here and 1 here. Okay. Now let's increase this block. Justification is going to be this one, right one, and it's going to call pause menu or game on pause, and we can increase the size by the font like this. Game on pause. But we do need to align it a bit like this. Nice. So now we have the game on pose, and we have the option menus. And over here we can have some links to our socials or something. I don't know. For now, that's what we are going with. Now let's set up the systems for these buttons. Graph, and we don't need any construction stuff. Yeah, we do need some construction stuff. So first of all, when we construct, we want to get player controller, and we want to set game mode, set input mode game and UI game only, but we want this to be UI only, so this is going to be input mode. Wait a minute. I don't think we can get. Okay, I will build the game mode. Oh no, gamepad or keyboard switching. Okay, so from right now we are just working with mouse, so we will be using mouse to click on stuff. After that we can introduce how we navigate through the menu, maybe using keyboard or a gamepad, but we will do it afterward. For now we are just setting up basic prototyping, so that's more than enough, I guess, for now. Okay, so from the get player controller, we're going to get and set. Okay, we're going to set input mode UI only, and no widget in focus. And from the get player controller, we're going to get it and set mouse cursor, set show mouse cursor, and make it true. And we're going to get another event, which is event destruct, and we're going to set, first of all, get validate valid valid VALI, yeah, so is valid, so that we know that player controller exists inside the world. And if it is valid, then I'm going to set input mode game only, and also set show mouse cursor to be false. Nice. That's what we need for every menu actually. Now we can work on the actual buttons. So when we press on resume, we want to remove this menu from the parent. So remove from parent. That's it. Okay, and once we quit, we press on quit, we're going to call for event, which is quit game, and this basically quits everything. You will be on your desktop when you press this button. Okay, and the option menu, I will build a option menu. For now it's just going to be just options for now. and main menu. When we press on click, we want to open up a level. Open level by name. Okay, and the level name, it can be not by name but level reference. Open level by object reference. And when we make the main menu, we will add that over here. Okay, so let's test everything, but before that I actually also want some kind of sound cue. Some kind of sound cue while all of these things are being clicked and stuff. So what we're going to do is that there is, on the event construct, there's a thing called, inside all of the buttons, if we drag from here, and we will call for bind event on clicked or bind event on hovered. We want the bind event on hovered. And what we actually want to do is every single time when we are hovering over a button, we want to create a sound. Okay, a very sweet and subtle sound. It will feel much better for the player. So we're going to do that. And over here, we're going to create a custom event for the button sound. Button hover and sound. Okay, and we can add that sound over here, which is also going to be play sound 2D. And I think we have a button sound. Click on button, and there should be some other sound. I have to search for it. Not the birds, not this one. Nope. 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 Third. Okay, that was okay. Let me decrease the volume so that you guys don't have your eardrums are safer than mine at least. Okay, now this has already been done. Nope, nope, nope. No Floy. Go down. Oh, okay. We are somewhere. This is good. Let's see how well is it. Let's go back to our character so that we can make a key event. Every single time we press that key, the menu will be appeared. So on key event 3 or 2, let's make it L. So every single time I press L, we will create widget called pose menu and add that to the viewport. Okay, so every time we press L, we get the pose menu, and now let's try to hover over them. Okay, So it's only on resume right now, but we can add the other buttons really well. We just have to drag all of these and place them over here. Nice. Compile, save everything, and now let's test it out. I think it's a bit much. The sound is a bit much. So if we press on resume, we do resume it. And when we click on options, there's options. Okay, so when we click on options, we want to view a window. Okay, so we're going to make a option widget over here. So make a new folder called options, and this will actually have a lot of other parts, but for now I'm just making a simple widget that will contain all sort of things. So this is actually going to be WPI, so that I know that it's a inside blueprint and not a master blueprint. And then I will call it options. Okay, and inside here we're going to have a canvas panel, CAN canvas panel, which is going to be again 9020 by 180, and then we're going to have a text inside here, which is just going to say that its justification is going to be the center. Font justification at the center, and it's going to say options under build. Okay, and now we're going to increase its size. Let's get the desired on screen, and let's also add all of this. Anchor is going to be this, position is going to be 0 0, and let's so make this something like here. Okay, let's also add a image inside the canvas panel, and it's going to be like about everything. Color opacity is going to be black, and this is going to be under the text. Okay, so every single time we click on options, we want to actually showcase that widget that we just created. So we're going to search for that widget over here, WIB options, and add that to the canvas. And this canvas, this options is going to be at the center of this canvas with 0 0 of the position, and alignment is going to be 0 0.5 and 0 0.5. Okay, why is it not? I don't know. Let's set the position to be 0 and 0. Okay, so every time we press on option, we want to make this appear and then disappear depending on it. Okay. I think there should also be a backup option. Let's make it full screen, make this anchor at the center, and position to be 0, 0, 0 0.5, 0 0.5. Similarly here, this anchor is actually going to be all of the way, and 0 here, 0 here. Okay, and we can have a button as well, which will take us back to common UI, common text, and this text is going to say back, and yeah. Let's make this back size a bit bigger. And the other thing that I want to do is go over here, go to the button that we just made, and on click we're going to remove it from parent. Okay, remove from parent. And we don't need any of those construct and deconstruct stuff, because as I said, this is a integrated widget rather than a parent or a master widget. So this just can have all of the simple functions. And instead of adding it over here, what we're going to do is on event option clicked, we're going to add to actually create a widget. So create widget of WBI options and add to viewport. Add to viewport. Okay. Now let's test it out. So if we press L and if we press on options, it will showcase us another widget which we can get back from and click on resume to do all of the things. Nice. Now there is one more thing that I want to do, which is to actually create a probably a meaningful thing inside the options, but also a sound every time I click a button. Okay, so just like bind on event, bind event to on hovered, we're going to create another bind event on click. Okay, and similarly like that, we're going to have another event which is going to be custom event, and this is going to be button click king sound, and again a play 2D sound, and we're going to make it none, and search for button. A switch, a lever, click on button. Okay, yeah, this one. Wait a minute. Yeah, good. And also, just like the last one, we have to add all of them for it to work, and then we can compile and save everything. Now let's start L, and we can click on options. Okay, nice. And now we want to add the same feature, the same buying event on hovered and clicked to this WBI options. So Shift C, Control C to copy them, and Control V to paste them. Not 2 times, just 1 time. And over here we're going to get the button and set it on both of them. And now if you go back, default event, and go to the pose menu, you can click on options. It doesn't sound, it's not doing anything. Oh yeah, it's on clicked. It should be on event construct. Yeah. Oh, nice. And now we can go to main menu when we create it. For now, what? Yeah, it just opened up the previous level because we didn't have any level inside specified. Okay, so that much is done. Now let's start with creating the main menu. Okay, the main menu will have many other things. So we're going to create another new folder called main menu, and this menu will have its own level as well. So main menu level, okay, and it's going to have its own user widget, but we're going to use this widget right here. Copy, rename it to main menu, and open it up. And now we're going to change a few things. First of all, in the resume, we're going to not have resume but play or continue or stuff like that. And instead of being a vertical box, we're going to actually create a scroll box. Okay, but we're not going to scroll anything, but maybe not fill it. Yeah, that might be the option, the answer. Do not fill it, but make it auto. Or maybe not fill it horizontal. Now fill it horizontal, not vertical. Now maybe just keep it this way. You can edit it however you like. Yeah, we can do it that way. So inside the resume, we're going to again say play options. In the main menu, it's not going to be main menu but credits, and again quit. Though this is not going to exist over here, this is going to be at the bottom this time. So grab this, the anchor is going to be this, and the position wire is going to be 0, and this is going to be 1. And with this one, it's going to be at the center top, and position is going to be 0 0, it's going to be alignment 0.5, and alignment 0 -1. Yeah, nice. And instead of game on pause, we're going to, for now, say prototype 0.01. But soon enough, we will change it to our name, our game name. Okay, again, over here we will have our, what do you say them? Our, mm, mm, so that's not going to change. Okay, so over here we can have our links and stuff, but that too is going to be a completely different widget. Okay, so now we created all of that. It also have all kind of sounds, and it also do all of those things. But instead of the play, now we're going to create another widget which will take us to the continuation and save game files. Okay, so you can select same game files. If you don't have one, you can create one and stuff like that. For now we don't have them, so we're just going to open up a level. So open level by object reference, and then that level is going to be default level. Okay, and over here there is no main menu, but there is a credit screen. So we're going to create a widget for the credit screen, but for now we don't have to worry about it. Also, we can also do the same thing here. Nice. Let's also change the labels here. So this is going to be credits. CRREDITS. Credits, quit, options, play. Nice. I think that would be enough for our menu. So yeah, we didn't fix that. So our pause menu, this menu, upon clicking the main menu, we will actually go to the main menu level. Okay, and now let's open up this level. And what we're going to do, we're going to go inside the blueprint of this level, which is basically similarly as a character blueprint. This is the level blueprint. Okay, so we can do something whenever this level is running. So event begin play, we're going to drag and say create widget, and we're going to choose main menu here, and we're going to add to viewport. Okay, now as soon as we play this, for some reason it's saying texture streaming pool over this. This is an empty level. What are you doing, Unreal Engine? Okay, but we can, oh, the sound is too much. As you can see, that we can click on the buttons and we can select options, option under build, credits. It's going to say credit, but why work more on something temporary? And if we press on quit, this will end the game, and if we press on play, this will open up our default level. Now we can play just as same as we were playing before, and we can press L, go to this menu, go to options, or go to main menu. But there is something that you will notice if we press on main menu, like listen to this. There is a sound when we press on options and back. and also in resume, but there is no sound when we are switching between levels like this, right? So what we can do is whenever we are trying to switch a level, okay, so now main menu, and whenever we are trying to switch a level like this one, we're going to add a delay. Okay, and this delay is going to be about, yeah, this much. This is more than enough, and that's it. Now it should play a sound when we click on it. Okay, and it also like stays up for some time, but there is sound. So you did get the queue that is going to open up, but it, the window is still in front of you. It's like loading in. Okay, so I guess this is much better. I really don't know, but I think this is much better. Now we can go inside the option, but there is nothing in the main menu. So let's fix that. Go to main menu level. No, not the main menu level. Go back here, and we have to add the same thing, same delay to the quit game. Now let's open up pause menu, and let's add delay over here, and let's add delay over here. Nice. Save everything, close everything. Okay, so most of the prototyping most of the prototyping of the menu is done, but there is one thing that I want to add to the options for the early players who are going to actually play the prototype, to have control on mouse sensitivity and some more other stuff, some accessibility stuff. So I'm going to do the mouse sensitivity right now. Okay, let's go to CBP sandbox character, and also to set the mouse sensitivity, we have to work on the save game system. But if we are working on the save game system, it's going to take much more time, and I need a break. Let me just put them together. This is already assigned. This is going to be comment interaction. Interaction event, and we can move this to something like here. Okay, and the other one, these are still unsituated, unconfirmed. This F need to be a specified input action event rather than just being F. Okay, so we're going to make this input action left, and this is going to be bit yellowish or maybe reddish. something like this, so that I know that we have to make input action for these two functions. Okay, this is pose menu, and this is flashlight. Okay. So first of all, we need to focus on this look option. Okay, and there is also one more thing that I want to add this gamepad as another option. Okay, not as another option, but I want to keep this last sequence of what do you call this, functions similar. Okay, and then I want to add this gamepad look to this system. Let me just show what I want to do. So we're going to move this over here inside just one comment, and then we're going to make the same triggered event. But as you can see over here, we have these values, these x and y values, and these are the same x and y values that we get in the gamepad over here. So we're going to change them depending on that. Okay, so let's create a function. Not a function, let's first create it right now. So for the x, we're going to select float, and pick a is going to be a variable called is gamepad. Okay, so and this is gamepad will always be turned on if whatever the key we are pressing is a gamepad key and not a keyboard key or a mouse key. Okay, so we're going to get is a gamepad, and if it is, then we want to get this x value, and if it is not a gamepad, then we want to get this x value. Same with the other one, we want to get this y value over here and this y value over here. Nice. And now we can just select all of these things, right click, and make this a function. And one good thing about this function in particular is that because we're not changing any information, we're not changing any value, we don't need this to be inside these executable pins. We can just make this a pure function which just basically changes the value of our inputs according to our inputs. Okay, and once you have something like this, now the next thing that we want to do is set the sensitivity. Okay, and we want to set the sensitivity for the x and y in both sense. So what we want to do is we're going to create two variables called x axis mouse look sensitivity. Okay, and similarly over here, want to get maybe just duplicate this. Y axis sensitivity look sensitivity. And what we want to do is multiply that sensitivity over here. We want to multiply it like this. Put the initial value at first and this value at bottom. Okay. By default, both of them are going to be 1. Okay. Let's multiply the last one. Okay. And now we can move this. Okay, so now the X sensitivity, look sensitivity, or whatever, it will dictate on how fast we can move in certain axes. So let's do that. Going to go inside the options, and we're going to create another widget. For now, yeah, let's just create another widget. Widget blueprint, user widget, and this widget is going to be called accessibility. Okay, and for now, all of the options, all of the things that I want to add as options in the game is going to be here for now. And as soon as we start working on the demo and stuff, we will make a better option menu overall. Okay, so now what we want to do is get a canvas. Actually, not a canvas, but a should we need a canvas? Canvas or not? Canvas or not? Guess canvas or not? We do need a scroll box, so get a scroll, scro scroll box. Okay, and now this scroll box will have buttons for us. Okay, not exactly buttons, but it will have a horizontal box. Okay, and this horizontal box, this first horizontal box, is for mouse sensitivity X. Okay, and we're going to duplicate it afterwards. And this horizontal box will have a text, just text. Okay, and that text will say something like take over pages text. Yeah, this is going to say mouse sense CNC sensitivity X. Mouse sensitivity X x-axis. Okay, and this is going to be on the right side. Also, it's going to be filled at first, and then we're going to have a slider. Okay, and it's going to be an analog or a simple slider. Let's check both of them. Fill again. Where is it? It's over here. And Yeah, let's not make this one fill. This is going to be auto, and that one is going to be fill. Okay, and maybe, yeah, over here we can add a padding on this padding. Uh, yeah, uh, auto fill uh, over here. Just going to fill all of this. Auto. Okay. Uh, oh yeah, we can do this. This can have certain value. This can fill up to certain position. Okay, so what are we going to do? This is going to be fill, and this is going to be fill as well. I mean, this is already nice. Okay. Uh, okay. No padding, nothing like that. Now let me also check how the analog slider do and what is the actual difference. Um, Not really any difference, I think. I don't see any difference. Analog slider have few things over here. Okay, so it have a bit more event. An analog capture is the event that it have a one more event, but I don't think we will need it, so we're going to use the basic slider and fill it. And inside the slider, we're going to go inside style and normal bar image, bar thickness to be something like that. What about the, yeah, thumb image? What about this? Can we increase? Yeah, so we can increase it this way. And we also need some kind of like a detection system, I think. So let's add a text to showcase what exactly is the value of this slider. Okay, so we're going to get the text block. There's going to be just simple slider slid slider percentage. Okay, and it's going to be a variable. This is going to be the mouse x slider, and that's it. This is not going to be a variable. And now we can duplicate this complete horizontal bar, and now we have this. So here we can change this mount sensitivity to be Y. Okay, and everything else is going to be same except this one is going to be Y, uh, Y, and this is going to be for X slider mouse X percent, and this is going to be mouse Y percent. Okay, So now let's go to the graph. And does this have, oh yeah, pre-construct. So even before constructing and also on the event tag, oh no, no. So even before we start constructing the event, we're going to get the slider mouse X%. Also, yeah, we do have it. Okay, so slider mouse X%, we're going to get that, and mouse %y. And we want to set text, this one, to the percentage of this. So we're going to get mouse X slider, get percentage, set percent. What is the actual value? Mhm. Set value, I guess. Set value. Okay. So we're going to, instead of set, we're going to get value and put that here. Wait a minute. Get value. We need to get this one. Okay, so now if we go to over here, as you can see, it's 0. And if we were to change the value over here, if we go back to the value and we change the value over here to something, and if we compile it, it's going to change that value to that particular something. But as you can see, this is in decimal. We don't want it to be in decimal. So what we're going to do is multiply this by 10, and then we're going to truncate it and put that here instead. Truncate basically makes a float value into a integer value. It gets rid of the decimal points. Okay, so now it's only 3. Now it can be don't do that. Now it can be 4, compile, or something like that. Okay, but I'm still not really that impressed here. I want to actually have it maybe multiply it by 100, so that we have a range from 0 to 100% of this movement. Right? Okay. But as you can see, this slider moved because of this value. We don't want it to move because of this value. So what we can do, yeah, have percentages. As you can see over here, we can fill this up for 50%, so maybe 0.5. It can only take up 0.5 amount of page, and then this one will have about 0.4, and then this will have, the last one will have full amount of 0.1. Okay, similarly with this one, this is going to be 0.5. This is going to be 0.4, and this is going to be 0.1. Okay, so now we have kind of aligned menu. Okay, so now let's select both of these and make a padding on the top of them. It's going to be about 15. Okay, so there is like gap between them. Okay, compile and save everything. And this also going to have, I don't think it's going to have anything else. Okay, save everything and go back. Also, I forgot to mention, this is again another a WPI widget. Now let's go to the WPI option, and now we're going to add uh, accessibility over here. Okay, it does have canvas, and we want to fill it up almost the whole place. But before that, we're going to add a vertical box. Okay, so VER vertical box. Let's add that. The anchor is going to be complete 0 0 0 0 0. Okay, now add the image, no, not the image, the text to the vertical box, and then the accessibility to the vertical box. And now what will happen is we can have inside the text to be the options. Okay, so it basically says options, and we can change these options as we like. So let's try that. First of all, also go back and set this value, duplicate, and put that over here. Is it not? Oh yeah, this is this one, and this th this is this one. Compile, save, go over here, and it says 25. It says 0. Now it can't really change anything inside the mouse yet because we haven't set it that functionality, but it also cannot change the slider option after we move it inside the menu. So let's do that. So inside the event construct, we're going to bind, also get from here slider, and we want to bind event on value changed, and every time we change the value, this text will be different. Okay, maybe have a completely different change custom event, change values. Okay, and now we can get this, get these, very serious, place them over here, and attach this. And now we can over here call for change values. Also, if you are thinking what exactly is this pre-construct, then this is the same function as the event construction script over here. And what they basically do is they do some kind of functionality that whatever you put in them, even before you start playing the game. So if you have, let's say, something in the construction script that says that the mesh that is inside the blueprint will be a cube, then it will be a cube even when you place it inside the world. Okay, so inside instead of it changing inside the begin play or when we play the game, it will be different forever until unless you go back and change the construction script. Okay, so it's the same thing with this one, the pre-construct. Okay, the value is going to be 0 because we are not using this value. And now let's test the slider before we move on. Inside the options, we have these values, and we can change these values. And as you can see, as we change them, the value is changing as well. Okay, so it can be 100 or it can be 0. It can be anything. Okay, but I also don't want it to be 0, by the way. That's something that I will tell you. 0 can be the slowest, but it cannot stop the mouse to move, I think. Okay, stop it. Now let's go over here. And now let's add, like, let's first check. So we are changing the value between 0 to something. Let me do it visually. So our slider is working between 0.001 to 1.000. So if there is a value called 0.345, and if we multiply it by any mouse input that we have, then it will decrease it, because mainly if we want to increase the value, it should be more than 1, and if we want to decrease the mouse sensitivity, then it should be less than 1. So one way we can do that is by whatever the value we have in the slider, we just multiply it by 2, and that would be our mouse sensitivity. But it can cause problems if we are multiplying 0 by 2, which will be 0. Yeah, right? So that's the only problem, but other than that, I think we will have a much better slider this way. And more than enough, 0.1, 0.5 will be our, right now, the initial value that we have, which is 0.1. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to multiply this by 2, whatever the value is inside the system. Okay, so let's go to event graph, and let's go to okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get a event dispatcher here. So get an event dispatcher right here, this one, and this event dispatcher will have something like slider value change, change mouse sense. Oh my god. Okay, and this event dispatcher, this event, going to have some input, like first input, which is the value of x, and what is the value of y. Okay, and these are going to be float by default, and also by default the bars are going to be 50-50. Where is it? Not exactly. We're going to get the mouse sensitivity and stuff, right? Okay, so this is slider value change. So where did I even create this? Inside the options? No, we don't want to create this inside the options. This will be in accessibility, and over here we're going to have it mouse value sense value change. Okay, I'm going to call this over here. Okay, so we're going to call for event value change every time we change a value, and this event dispatcher is going to have few inputs. First is going to be a float, another is going to be float, first is going to be called x value, and the last one is going to be called y value. Okay, and these values are going to be multiple of these x and y. Okay, so this is y and this is x. So we're going to grab from here and multiply it by 2 and add that here. Let's duplicate this so it's much nicer. Also, it didn't update it, so let's refresh nodes. Now this will be x. Compile. Yeah, this will be x, and duplicate. Duplicate. This will be y. Okay, so now we are getting the values from here when we are setting those values depending on the sliders as we change them. Okay, so now we can go back to here, and now we need to create a completely separate portion for event dispatchers. Okay, first of all, inside, yeah, it's going to be inside the event begin play. So inside the event begin play, we're going to get from here, and we're going to create a widget, or we can get it as a variable. Okay, accessibility, accessibility, accessibility menu, and this is going to be WBI accessibility object reference, and we're going to get this object reference, and then we're going to from here say bind event to mouse sense value change. Okay, bind to mouse sense value change. And now we're also going to over here create event, and now we can create a completely separate event over here, create custom event, which is going to be change mouse sensitivity. Okay, and this will have the same, like if you remember the inputs that we had in the event dispatcher, this event should have both of those inputs, okay, or at least those types of inputs. So we're going to add 2 inputs for a float value, and I'm just going to keep the name same as well, x and y. And now if we compile and save everything, yeah, because there is nothing inside it, we can check and get this change mouse sense. And now every time this event is called inside the accessibility menu, it will be called over here. This event will be running. Okay, so let's change the x value and y value. X will be this, y will be this. Compile, save everything. One more thing, the reason why I said that we need a save game system for this is because if we don't make a save game system for this, then it will be kind of what I would say, like it will not take in these values. The final value will not take in this. Okay, so whatever you have here, it's not going to change any values inside the mouse. Like if you go play, you're playing as you should be. But if we go to L, go back to the menu, and now if we change something, okay, let's make them around, why is this not changing? Let's make both of them 10. It should be 10. For some reason it's not changing anymore. But if we go back to resume, it's still the same. Let's trying to read properties, accessibility menu, find event, menu change, event graph, accessibility. Okay, so it's not going to happen then. Then it's going to happen when we create pause menu, right? Yeah, it's still saying that. So we need to make this inside the options. Then the options will be inside the pause, not the pause menu. Um, yeah, the pause menu will have this accessibility menu stuff. Ah, let's add it to the pause menu. I I need to think about this. How do we change the mouse sensitivity from the pause menu? We have to forget about the main menu right now because it's not going to work anyways until unless we have a save game system which will take on the values that we change anywhere on the other levels to some other levels. For now I really don't have any idea. I don't want to end on this, but I think I have to. This is already 2.5 hours of live streams, and I mean, we build everything. The options are there. We just need to set them. Let's just also make this hovering effect a little bit much better. So this thumbstick that we have, the image size is, let's go with 45 and 30. Okay, and the hovered thumbs will be again 45 to 30. Similarly with the disabled will be, I think, 45 and just 50. Yes, let's do the same thing with here, same thing with this one. where are we going to change the value of the stove and the image size to something that we desire. Make it higher and have some fun while doing it. Let's make 15 over here, and that's it. Compile, save everything, and now let's go back. Let's try to play. Again, this is not changing the value while. Oh, so if you change. So this value is changing while we are changing this, which is not good. Why is that happening? So let's go to the graph, and this find event is only working when this is working. So we need to add this one over here as well. Okay. Now both of them can change. Okay, stop, save everything. And now let's also add the sound before we move on, which will be find event on controller capture begin, mouse capture begin, mouse capture, controller capture. I think, yeah, there should be some sound over here. Sound play 2D. Click. Let's make that one. And can we have find event on hovered? Okay, so like the buttons, we don't have the hovering effect over here, which is not great, but I think we have to live with it. Maybe there's some other thing that we can do in future to make that happen. Options. Too much noise. It's too loud. Okay, so let's fix that. I'm going to go inside project settings, and inside systems we're going to create a new folder called music and sounds, and this will have inside the audio we have the source classes. Yeah, so we can have a sound class, and this sound class is going to be the sfx. Okay, and the volume is going to be 0.2. Okay, save everything, and now let's search for these audios that we have over here. Okay, so they like this video, the play sound on 2D. We're going to double click on it, and inside the class we're going to choose for SFX that we just created, and similarly the handle, we're going to choose the SFX class. Make sure that you choose the main SFX class. Okay, and now if we do it, as you can see, it is much quieter, and this is also much more fun to do, right? Okay, one more thing, there is no padding to the left and right of it, so let's add that in as well. Okay, so let's add some paddings to that. Yeah, close menu, designer, and we don't need padding over here. We do need padding over in accessibility, not even in accessibility, but in option. We need another canvas panel actually, so let's add a canvas panel inside the canvas panel, and let's add all of these things inside this new canvas panel. Also, this canvas panel is going to be so much canvas panel. Offset is going to be 50, right? 50, 50, 50, and this is going to be 50 as well. Okay, and now let's make this vertical box anchors to be complete. Okay, and this text option to be inside the vertical box, this accessibility to be inside the vertical box, and this button anchor to be this way, and the position to be 0, this position to be 0, and the alignment to be 1 over here. Maybe make it a bit smaller, and also get the text back inside here with smaller font. Nice. So now we have a bit of padding going on over all of the place. Let's end that. Okay, so I'm going to end the live stream on this place. We have built, it's not functioning, but it is still a menu where we can go inside these things. Right now the credits also open up options, but we can change that in future, and we can play. We have a pose menu, and we have a flashlight rain system. Now right now you cannot see anything like, you don't have any clue of how much battery is left, but soon enough the flashlight is depleting, but but soon enough I will add some kind of UI that will tell us how much battery is left, how much battery do we have inside our inventory, and stuff like that. Also, we can get these batteries and have more life inside our flashlight. Okay, So let's end the live over here. I hope all of you guys had fun. By the way, if you have any questions about anything related to live streams or game development, you can ask all of them inside the comment section or in the live chat as you like. Okay, all of these live will be available forever. So if any one of you want to know about more about game development or you want to learn about game development, you can watch over these lives, which are basically me developing my own game while being in present while presented to you guys. Yeah, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys had fun, even if you are watching live replay. But yeah, see you soon. See you in the next live.